I don't know what Elizabeth may have shared with you, if anything, but
Nothing much. She kept me guarded, she kept me safe. I knew only what I needed to.
she herself violated one of the tenets, the traditions, the Kindred. That is the masquerade, the principle that those who are not of the blood never know. That veil is never lifted. There are some things that Sal has to share with Sera before arrival at the prince's judicial hearing.
And we are getting a ride there from you.
Yeah, so Sal has the town car come around. Jimmy kind of opens the door in his dark suit and would, of course, gesture for Sera to be seated in the vehicle.
I look at him. I don't really say anything. I am aware of his presence a little bit more than what I normally would be. But I brush that off and get into the car. Let the
And
door close.
Yeah, Sal would slide in kind of the other side of the town car and would just make a gesture to Jimmy as Jimmy gets in, and you hear the radio kind of turn up a little bit. You won't be listening.
Is it bad if he does?
No, he, I trust him more than just about anyone else in this world. Because he's mine.
Is he like me, or is he like I was to Elizabeth?
He is Gould. He is given the gift of my blood. He gives me his service.
Then what does he get in return for that?
He gets all the money he needs, protection, and he stays in the family. My line, where I came from, well, I'm sure you've heard of the mob.
Is that a question, or?
I think the word's rhetorical, but the Kindred vampires. There's an element of them that are also criminals, descended from Sicily. That's my bloodline, where I came from. We have retainers, we have mortals that work for us as well. But some earn the privilege of being Gould. Someday, perhaps, they earn the privilege of the embrace.
And they do this willingly?
Most do it willingly. There comes a time where sometimes hard decisions have to be made for those that know too much. It's either this or it's death.
Doesn't seem fair.
It's centuries of tradition. I don't know if it's fair or not.
You never question?
Never needed the question. Always had something to do, somewhere to be, another job. And my sire embraced me because I had earned it, serving the family loyally for years, doing what needed to be done.
So you had purpose. You have purpose.
I suppose I was sent here for reasons. I've had jobs to do in the past. But even then, I still have my own motivations, my own concerns.
Your own free will?
Yes, I need to follow some of the rules. My family, this city, what we are. That's what I wanted to talk about before we get to Decker. I don't know what Elizabeth may have shared with you, if anything, but...
Nothing much. She kept me guarded. She kept me safe. I knew only what I needed to.
She herself violated one of the tenets, the traditions, the Kindred. And that is the masquerade. The principle that those who are not of the blood never know. That veil is never lifted.
She did tell me that one and told me to swear it to secrecy that I never told another soul about our relationship.
Violating that can renounce the claim of the blood. In essence, can be ended. And then domain, what you hold, what you have, you protect, and people will not challenge your word while there, or your claim. Usually it's for the nobles. Sometimes you are in a place in a city.
So, like my apartment that is now left in ruins, that would be my domain?
If it is granted by those in charge, usually the prince must acknowledge your claim. And one that gets a little difficult given your circumstances. You are not to sire another unless you have the express permission of the local prince, the ruler. It controls the number of kindred in a place, and it maintains those domains, maintains our rights to hunting grounds. If you are given permission to sire another progeny, you are accountable for them, their actions, their deeds. Until they are accepted in their own right, you take ownership for what happens, the fallout.
This all seems very medieval.
Many of our kind have traditions dating back well beyond medieval age. A feudal society of sorts. That's the Camarilla. I sit somewhere between the Camarilla and the Sabbat. Other, I don't know what to call them, branch off of the tree of the Kindred.
I heard that name mentioned back at my house. what is the significance of the Sabbat?
Enemies of the Camarilla. They are less concerned at all with the masquerade. They are superior to mortals and hold nothing back in their pursuits. Some of them siring just to insert chaos into a city, creating dozens of thin-blooded henchmen, monsters. Our prince, he has fought them before, has, he thinks, exterminated them from his city.
Have you?
I've come across Savat before, but my family, my clan, my Gata, we've had an agreement for nearly 500 years with the Camarilla. Neutrality. We sit outside of their organization and we go about our own business. Not engaging with the Sabbat, not engaging with the Anarchs, yet another group, and not engaging with the Camarilla.
So, this third one now, we have the Camarilla, we have the Sabbat, and now the Anarchs, and then you're talking about clans as well.
Yes, it's complex.
How many clans are there?
Several. They're the bloodlines all descended from Gein, his children, and there are others descended from Lilith. Ben Sahar would be one to talk to about the number of clans and what they all are. Although hear phrases here and there, tend to avoid the politics.
So which clan are you? Which clan am I?
I am Clan Hekata. We are an assembly of many of the other clans that were dying out and had fallen astray, but all united in our pursuit of oblivion. It is death, the endless night in which spirits brought forth into this world. We all seek it in our own ways.
Like spirits as in ghosts?
Wraiths, ghosts, yes. Beings of what's left when mortals die. Spiritual entities. On my clan, the Hekata, we commune with them. We bind them to do our bidding. Call them forth. It's one of our calling cards. I do not know your clan, but I only can guess, given the shadows that gathered and kept you safe. I'm sure there's a way we'll be able to find out, perhaps even hunt down your sire. Find who did this to you. It would only be a speculation, and a poor one at that. I know my limitations.
Is that... Can we do that? Can we find out who? Find out why?
We can at least try to find them. See what we can learn. Once you've presented yourself to the prince, to Decker, then we can go about finding who did this to you.
So what do I do when I meet him? Him? Pete
Him.
Decker?
Prince Decker, yes, Milwaukee's a bit of a strange city in that he doesn't follow all of the rules, regulations, decorum of a Camarilla prince. He's more of a tyrant, a general. He led Milwaukee through a time of war between vampires and werewolves. Some say the war is still being fought. You are presenting yourself to the top of the food chain here in Milwaukee. Act as if you are in the presence of a noble, which you've seen perhaps in film.
Like, call him Majesty and Sire and all that?
I would refer to him as Prince Decker, unless he says otherwise. When I say he is a general, a wartime leader, it is his focus more on governance of his city. He has changed the rules to fit his needs. He limits how many of us can gather in one place. He dispatches an executioner, given a number of judges that he has.
Sounds more like a tyrant than a prince to me.
Misguided one at that. He's so focused upon the werewolves that surround Milwaukee, he refuses to see the other threats that are at his doorsteps. When you can, avoid saying too much to him. Answer only the questions that are asked directly. People will be listening all around you. Even if the room may appear to be empty, there will be others waiting in the shadows, looking for some morsel to feed on.
What if I don't accept what he has to say?
And I am confident you will die tonight.
This whole time she's been looking at Sal, and with that realization, she looks away out the window for a minute, just kind of lost in her own thoughts. Like, why me? Why all this? What am I supposed to do now?
We'll find a way.
Who was the person that... What was her name? Trixie? What was the little girl's name that was in the room with us?
Pixie.
She said I ate somebody. What does that mean? Who was it? What?
From what we saw, it was... his name was Sundown. He was a informant, a rat that fed everything he heard to the prince and perhaps others.
Did you know him?
I didn't like him. Only good rat's a dead rat.
And what clan is he? Or was he, I guess?
Nosferatu, like Pixie.
Like the movies.
Someone, yes. They all have horrible visage, something. Teeth, pallid skin, misshapen ears. It's their curse of their clan. Each of the clans has something. A curse, if you want to call it that.
Like above and beyond not being able to go out in the sunlight, not being able to eat food.
Yes, Hekata, for instance, was. And Sal catches himself there with the past tense. Hekata was a painful bite. You may have remembered Elizabeth fed from you. It felt incredible. No
Putting it
pain.
mildly.
When my clan feeds, it's horrific. It's a violent struggle, and it's the most excruciating pain you'll have ever felt.
Why would you want to do that to somebody?
Because we have to. Without the blood, we are nothing. We use blood for everything we do. Talked about learning what you'll do. I can see into the world of spirits. I can strengthen my body against blade and bullet, even the sun for a short amount of time. Extra senses, speed. You'll see how Elizabeth commands a room. You, it appears, may be able to manipulate shadow in some way. But the blood, when we feed, it is used for all of those things we can do. And if we ever become too hungry, then the beast that dwells within us will take over. And we are but passengers to its frenzy.
Was that... She pauses for a moment, kind of going back through the events of the night before. Was that what happened to me when this all started?
Likely you were awoken and you were perhaps scared. Definitely hunger consumed you. And you likely attacked Sundown, who may have been near. Or he may have been brought to you and restrained. I don't know what happened there.
Everything is still muddled and confused. Will that ever get better? Will I ever be able to remember?
I honestly don't know. There might be ways that we can discover what happened, that we can fill in some of the gaps in that evening. And if we can find the one that turned you, you have my word that I will help you get any bit of information from them by any means necessary.
Sounds ominous.
Sometimes people don't like to talk. There's ways to make anyone talk. There will be other questions, and there will be other things that you need to learn. I will help you. At a minimum until Elizabeth returns, but certainly the others in our coterie are... It's a strange, dysfunctional group, but almost like a family. I'm sure they will help you as well.
So why did this happen right after she left? Why couldn't she have been the one to do this to me if it was going to happen? If I even wanted it to.
Someone likely knew what you were to her. This looks and feels like an attack against her. An attack against us.
I'll raise my hand up to my mouth and kind of feel the teeth, noticing that they're not pointy right now. Then looking at my hand, at the skin, the color of my skin, the way that it's changed to more bloodless. Why not just kill me then? Why do this? What? Like, I'm not even sure if this is real. This could just be a dream I haven't woken up from. I mean, you're talking about ghosts and werewolves and vampires. Oh my. Like, how is that real?
There are times where it feels like a waking nightmare. But then the next dawn comes, and with the sun, you know that you will never see it again. Night after night after night. And so many things seek to end our very existence.
But what about everything else? What about my job, my life, my parents, my friends, my siblings? What's going to happen to them? What? Am I allowed to be around them? Am I safe to be around anybody else? I ate somebody. To the point where they were nothing but dust.
There will come a time where you may be able to look in on them, see what they're doing. I've heard of some that will stay in connection, but eventually, as the years pass and you continue to remain as you are, it will become more and more difficult. Those tethers to the life that you had, sometimes it's best to just cut them loose.
But I don't want to.
For their own good.
What about for my own good? Where was my say in all this?
I don't know that I'm able to advise you in that. Where I come from, it was different. You had it taken from you. But there
And
will
you
be
got
times-
promoted.
I did. These are things that you'll have to make your own decisions about. Your family, loved ones, job. And some may be able to balance both lives. But others, it will become far too difficult to maintain that balance. There are parts of me that are dark and part of that waking nightmare I described. And I would never want my family, siblings, to see those parts of me, to see what I can do when I'm hungry, when I'm attacked, or when I'm hunting.
So what do I tell people? Like, I've got responsibilities. I have people I have to see on a regular basis. And with that in mind, she'll start kind of patting around her pockets, trying to find her phone. Where's my phone? Did you see it back at the house?
I did not, but it would not be wise to keep a phone. At least not a cell phone. There are those that hunt us simply for us being vampires. Second Inquisition. They'll use technology to find us, to hunt us.
The Second Inquisition.
Yes. An organization. The sole purpose of eliminating members of this world. The Kindred. Werewolves. Others.
But if we know about them, how are we not supposed to expect them, right?
For many years I would do the bidding of my sire. Then he was my boss. And many, many times, those that I was sent to take care of, they may have had an inkling that something was happening. Somebody was coming for them. But yet they were never prepared for what came for them. We can know and we can ready ourselves, but we don't want to give them any way that they can see into where we go and what we do. Maintaining secrecy.
Why don't you just take them out first? Hunt the hunted? Or no, hunt the hunter.
I've often considered turnabout, but the resources it would take, the numbers, it's not a luxury we have.
Sounds like the Sabbat have found a way around that. You were saying about...
There's a certain brevity to a life of violence. I don't know this for a fact, but I would wager a guess that the Sabbat, on average, are far younger than those members of the Camarilla. There's a lot more turnover. We're getting close to Deckers. Is there anything else you wish to know before your meeting with the prince?
Yeah, I just want to know who did this to me. And I know you don't have that answer. I want to know who, and I want to know why.
We will find them.